We are live. We are live. Currently live, ladies and gentlemen. Just waiting for a little bit of crowd to come in before we begin the session here. We get ready to talk Subriel Matias versus Alberto Puello for Puello's WBC Junior Welterweight title. The out of nowhere title fight between these two, as we're all getting ready to prepare for Matias versus Hitchens. Now we're going to get into that in a little bit, but ladies and gentlemen, Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Hosting Cruz. I don't usually do lives like how I used to do before, and it's been a minute since I did one with Pops right here, so here we go. It's been a while, so I decided to do it, and we're going to talk about Matias versus Puello in a fight that should be a really good fight. It's for the WBC title, which currently is held by Alberto Puello. Matias versus Hitchens was, the fight that we were all waiting for to see. We're also caught up in that fight. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we got this shocking news that Matias will instead be fighting for Alberto Puello's WBC title on July 12th in New York on the Shakur Stevenson versus William El Camarón Cepeda card, which has Edgar Berlanga, which has David Morrell. It's pretty solid.
What a lineup. Great lineup.
Yeah, so Matias is just the icing on the cake on this card. I'm looking forward to the fight, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, let's talk about it. Alberto Puello, 24-0, 10 KOs, guys. The current WBC Junior Welterweight World Champion. The former also WBA Junior Welterweight World Champion, who has defeated the likes of Gary Antoine Russell, Sandor Martin. So coming into this fight, Alberto Puello has the better track record. He's already a two-time world champion. Has beaten, like I just said, Antoine Russell, Sandor Martin are two of the top 140 pounders in the world today, highly ranked. And then on the other hand, you got Subriel Matias, who it's always a pleasure to talk about on my channel. Anytime I talk about Subriel Matias, I always get a good reaction and attention, because Subriel is just that. He's very exciting to talk about. He's exciting to watch. And he just comes to fight, and he's fan-friendly. A lot of punches, a lot of pressure. 22 wins, 2 losses, all 22 by knockout, and the former IBF world champion, junior welterweight world champion. So he's also a former world champion as well. Looking for the second world title of his career, looking to become a 2-time world champion in a fight that, like I said, we did not see coming. This came like a shot, like a punch to the face that we didn't see coming, and it knocked us out. So I'm looking forward to this fight. Stylistically, it's a tremendous matchup. Alberto Puello, tremendous boxer on his back foot. Southpaw, nice jab, nice footwork. And then you got Subriel Matias, right, Pops? Like a lot of pressure, awkward style, right uppercut, left hooks, punches and bunches. So this is a good fight.
I want to talk about some numbers that really got my attention when I was looking at the stats for both boxers. You have Alberto Puello, who's actually 5'9.5". Okay, he seems to be taller than 5'9.5", and then he's have a reach of 71 inches. He's age 30. He's a southpaw. He have 24, like you said, 24 wins, 10 KOs. Doesn't show much power, but what a full complete boxer he is. Okay, yes. And again, when he fought Martin at the time had 42 fights with 15 KOs. Okay, not a boxer, of course, like Subriel Matias that brings a lot of power and pressure, but he was a pretty rounded boxer.
Yes,
and then when he fought him, that was actually March 25th.
Yep.
Okay, then he fought Gary Antoine Russell, which was June 24th. Which at the time was 17 fights with 17 KOs.
Yeah, and I remember a time Subriel Matias versus Gary Antoine Russell was the fight that was being hyped and talked about.
I remember that time.
Because both guys were undefeated, both guys were knocking everyone out. So it was like, let's match these two guys. And the crazy thing is about Gary Antoine Russell, I just spoke about Puello recently holding the WBA title. He doesn't have it no more. Guess who has it? Gary Antoine Russell.
Correct.
And so it's amazing. It's like when I talk about it on my last video, a couple videos ago, I said WBA champion Alberto Puello by mistake because it felt like yesterday he had the belt and I forgot, oh God, he has the WBC title now. So like I said, he's a two-time champion now. It is
So this is what's crazy though, Josian. Puello have a 71-inch reach. Okay, guess what Matias is? What's Matias' reach?
71.
71. 71. So Puello would not be so effective against Matias like he was with Russell. Russell's reach was much shorter than 71. I think he's 70.
I think he's about 70.
About 70, yeah, maybe a little shorter than that. Yeah.
70, yeah.
So Matias, as long as Matias, there's the way I look at the fight. We have to understand, right? Even though you guys know that we are Matias supporters to the bones.
Yeah.
Boxing is boxing. Let's be real. Okay. Puello, they are gonna say he's gonna come on maybe the favorite in this fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Based on I mean he's undefeated. He is a champ. He's properly rounded when it comes to the craft of boxing.
Yeah.
He have a okay pop. The record says it. 10 KOs. He's left-handed. Okay. He have a great job. Okay, and he fights well going back.
Yes, on his back foot.
Okay, so
he can pivot. He can sidestep.
Yes,
he can turn you. So he basically has his style to get the job done against Subriel Matias.
He does.
My question is, like how I say it to everyone else that fights Matias, can he sustain that for 12 rounds and make sure that gas tank doesn't run out?
There you go.
Because Puello could do all that movement, the boxing, everything looked good earlier on. I'm going to be honest. Earlier on, the fight's going to be really a lot of turbulence. You know, if you're a Matias fan, it's going to be a lot of turbulence in this fight earlier on. But as the fight progresses, where it's going to get really interesting, how that footwork, how that movement is going to look after we hit the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round, if it gets there that far. Because a lot of people are predicting 8th round, 9th round TKO by Subriel Matias. And I'm in a group chat with a lot of boxing fans, and we talk about fights all the time, of course. It's a boxing group chat. And one of them told me that Subriel is a favorite coming into the fight.
Really?
Based on stats and sources. And I responded with, I'm not surprised because Matias brings a lot of danger to his fights.
Correct.
Doesn't matter who he fights. Subriel is a dangerous fighter. You know,
and he makes a lot of adjustments too.
If you don't gotta fight him, don't fight him. That's the type of Subriel. That's the type of fighter Subriel Matias is. I mean, he brings a lot of danger. He has a lot of pressure, a lot of punches, 80 punches per round when he's on his A game. Arm punches. The punches he throws are coming from all over the place. They're very awkward. And we're fighting Subriel Matias. It's fighting a boxer like his last fight, Gabriel Goyaz Valenzuela. Coming into that fight was known as a counterpuncher and a boxer. Nice long reach, jab, height. He had his advantages over Matias, but he did not use them because he got dragged into a firefight. And Matias was not prepared for Goyaz to stand toe-to-toe with him. Eventually I realized that because in that fight, Subriel, I forgot what round it is, Subriel decided to show Goyaz and us that he can box and move around side to side.
Yes, he can.
There was a moment in the fight where he was doing pot shotting side to side, and anytime he would go side to side and move, he would throw a punch and he would hit Goyaz, moving around, looking like Sergio Martinez for a second.
Yes.
And I was like, what the hell? And I was there live, and I was like, whoa, what the heck? Where did this come from?
You know what that means, right? Also, not to cut you off. That means that Subriel and the team was preparing to box Gabriel.
Yeah.
And it turned out that Gabriel said, you know what? I'm not gonna box. I'm coming to fight.
Yeah.
So yes, he did show a lot of footworks in a few occasions, and he looks good. Subriel Matias can box.
And another thing too, not only that Matias came back to form in that fight by brutalizing Goyas in the end, can Alberto Puello avoid getting dragged into a firefight? Because he's gonna look good, the footwork, everything like I said earlier on, but can he avoid a firefight like everyone has tried to in the past? I think every fighter that Matias has fought, even Paro, got dragged into a firefight in their fight at times in a few of those rounds where he had to stand toe to toe, and in the process got a busted eardrum, even though he was able to defeat Matias that night. It's hard because Matias makes you fight. His pressure is crazy. His punching is unpredictable, is awkward, is a style that no one has. It's not like Matias is just a regular pressure fighter. Yes, he brings that pressure and comes forward Mexican style, but his punches are on punches. You can't prepare for any of those shots. It's so hard to prepare for someone like Matias because no one can mimic his style. Ain't nobody going in there and throwing arm punches like Matias. You rarely see those style.
And the way he changes speed.
Yes, he will tap you, tap, just to get your attention, and then he throws a hard one. It could be an uppercut, left uppercut, right uppercut, hook, right hook, left hook. You just never know. But he keeps your guard up. It keeps you distracted to launch a hard shot. Could be to the body, could be to the head, doesn't matter. And Matias always gets criticized for his defense. I remember when I first started watching Subriel Matias, this was before his fights were even shown on television. You had to go watch it on YouTube or someone else is recording live on Facebook or something. And he was fighting Brady's Prescott. And even before that, I saw Matias, his defense was his head. He was moving his head a lot, not really blocking shots with his arms or gloves up, but he always showed tremendous head movement. Pretty good head movement. Of course, that came along with the pressure, the arm punches, the relentless offensive attack. But Matias is now doing more head movement, is continuing that head movement. Plus, he's also keeping his hands up, and he also blocks a lot of punches. In the fight with Goyas, he did this. A lot of times he was like this in the pocket and blocking shots.
It was like a Joe Frazier kind of thing.
Yes. So besides moving his head, Matias was block a lot of shots with his arm, keep his hands up. So his defense has gotten better. The thing is, Matias, you can never make Matias become a Pernell Whitaker, someone slick, or Shakur Stevenson. No, Matias is all gas, no brakes, a lot of punches, a lot of pressure. His defense is his offense.
That's right.
Offense.
Next thing that people need to understand, right? Russell pressure is nothing like Matias pressure. That's one. We all know that fight, Puello did win that fight. Like I saw it, and we can agree that he did win that fight. Well, it was pretty close.
The Russell fight.
The Russell fight. Okay, so let's put Russell basically applies pressure in a cautious way against Puello that night.
Mm-hmm.
He gave Puello the respect he deserved, but he was very cautious, even though he applied his pressure. Now Matias is a different monster. Matias is going to apply the pressure from the second round, and he's actually starting quicker now than before.
In the last fight with Goyas, he stepped on the gas in the second round instead of giving away the early rounds.
Can Puello sustain, like you said, Josian, can Puello sustain 11 rounds of no rest?
If somehow Puello can sustain, and he has a style, like I said, he's got it. He's got the tools to get the job done.
Correct.
If his gas tank doesn't run out, he has a chance to defeat Matias by decision. I can't see him stopping Matias. No way. Matias has been hit by harder firepower than what Puello is going to bring to the table. He has an okay pop, but he doesn't hit harder than Jukinbayev. He doesn't hit harder than Jeremiah Ponce. He doesn't hit harder than Ergashev. He does not. So what Power, the power that Puyo is gonna bring is something that Matias already has seen long time ago. He already got hit hard in the chin long time ago. So what's gonna help Puyo win this fight is his boxing skills and his feet and his gas tank. If he has enough gas tank from Subriel, because this is gonna be the most pressure he's gonna face. The punches are gonna come from all kinds of angles, especially when Matias is able to close the gap. And Matias is not gonna respect Puyo's incoming the firepower that Puyo is gonna give Matias, because Puyo is not a hard puncher. Matias has one of the best chins in boxing today.
Correct. And again, what kind of chin Puyo has? Have you ever been hurt?
Russell not buckle or get dropped. I don't recall ever seeing Puyo got dropped, but Russell got to him and they had some pretty good exchanges in their fight. And Russell, like I said, he has knockout power.
At that time, he had 100% knockout ratio.
So with Subriel, I think if Subriel, which I feel he will, once he connects with an uppercut, a hook at close range, once he gets into a firefight, because I feel Puyo is going to eventually have to stand and fight.
Correct.
Unless he can prove me wrong. I think Matias could really do some damage. Might even drop Puyo. I don't know, but it's only time will tell in the fight. We've never seen Puyo get dropped or buckled, so there's always a first. And Subriel has dropped and buckled fighters that we didn't think would have, like Jukembayev. Ergashev didn't get dropped, but he quit on the stool. So the most I can see is Puyo quitting on the stool, if anything. I'll be surprised if Matias can drop him hard or really get him to buckle.
But I tell you what, based on what I'd heard when we was in Fajardo, that we were talking to both of them, the trainer and him, Matias in this amateur career, which he didn't have much, he had a lot of knockouts by hitting the guys in the body. Matias must go to the body to slow down Puyo, and if he does that, okay, he also have a great job. Once he slow him down, we're gonna eat him alive.
Yeah, Matias also has a pretty good jab once he uses it effectively and consistently. Body work, when Matias goes to the body, it's beautiful work. I mean, he rips those body shots with his underrated hand speed. You hear them anytime they land. It's like when he fought Jukembayev, and Jukembayev was ripping those body shots and it's just amazing work. Matias one a really good body puncher once he gets going to the body.
Oh yes. I can't wait for this fight.
Yep,
it's gonna be an amazing weekend.
I'm looking forward to it, guys. This is not what we was waiting for, but let's have it. It's a good fight. It's two top 140s. Alberto Puello, top 140. And I'm looking forward to it. July 12th in New York, likely at the Barclays Center. Who knows? We'll see. We're waiting for a full announcement on where the fight is going to take place.
But the venue going to be, yes.
It's not Hitchens, but we'll take Alberto Puello and we'll take his title. Hopefully, we can see that happen.
What's your prediction? Any prediction, Hossein?
If Puello can sustain it for 12 rounds and keep his gas tank, Puello by decision. If not, Matias by TKO. And I can see it. I can see Puello not coming out. Maybe in the 8th round, TKO.
Or if not, he goes by decision.
If not, if he doesn't quit and he has that gas tank, Puello by decision.
And next thing I want to remind the audience.
Oh, and Gary Antoine Russell does have a 69 in reach. So saying I said 69 or 70.
69, that's a big difference. That is a big difference. Now, let's remember now that Puello is coming off a leg injury against Martin. Okay? A leg injury, based on what kind of injury it was, takes a while to heal properly. He might also come with a more mental state of, do I move often because of the leg injury? Because some injuries could be more mental than physically.
Yeah.
Okay? And if he has not overcome mentally of that injury, he could be slower than what you think when it comes to his feet.
And that's a problem that you brought that up, because if Puello enters a fight on one leg, You gotta be well-rounded. You gotta be complete. You gotta be 100% healthy to fight Matias.
That's right.
Win, lose, or draw, you're gonna take some punishment. It's like I've said it in my video couple videos ago about Matias versus Puello. It's like a sacrifice. You have to give something in return with Matias. Is you're sacrificing your body, your health. Once you step in there with Matias, the two guys that lost to him, that defeated him, Ananyan and Paro, they took punishment, even though they won. Petros Ananyan came in there with a busted, he was all busted up. Paro busted eardrum. So for Puello, if he was to win, he's gonna come out with something. Could be a bust lip, swollen eye, broken ribs, something. He ain't gonna come out perfect and go to clubbing and go party after the fight. No, he's going like to the hospital.
He's gonna have to stand and fight like everybody else. Their plan A is to keep moving, fight behind, keep counter punching, but that's gonna stop.
Someone said that leg, El Coqui, that leg injury can be an issue. Remember Ergashev? Yeah, Ergashev had a leg injury.
That's right.
He said he got stabbed before the fight. But yeah, if Puello comes in there with one leg or a leg injury, that's not a good thing. That's already a bad start.
He comes in 75% ready. He's gonna be out.
He's gonna need both his legs. He's gonna need both his arms. He's gonna need heart. He's gonna need gas tank, a full gas tank, everything in the kitchen sink to beat Matias. He's got the talent and the skills to get it done. But if you're going in there with one leg, that's a no-no.
And next thing, both boxers know that a win is big for them. We're talking about unifications after that.
And
okay?
Ain't much people can say that they easily outboxed Matias with 12 rounds. No problem. If Puello can get that done, then my hat's off to him. That's badass, man. If you can easily go in there and beat Matias 12 rounds, no problem, and show your stuff and prove to the world that Matias really ain't all that.
I told you once, even when I first saw Puello and I looked at him, a few fights that he did, because I was looking at all the 140s, and I told my son.
Someone said even the dogs are happy. Yes, we got dogs.
That's right, we got dogs.
We got a good bit of dogs in our yard, so yeah, they're making noise.
So Puello, when I first saw him, I told you, I said if anybody in 140 is gonna give Matias some problem, it's gonna be Puello. And when this fight was announced, I was like, OMG.
Yeah.
Reality have hit. But Matias is ready for anything, and these guys are friends. Let's remember that. These guys are friends. And both interviews that I saw with Matias and Puello, they both said, you know what, I don't really care to fight him, and vice versa. But business is business.
Business is business. Because after the Ponce fight, I remember they caught up with Matias and they interviewed him about the fight. And Matias said he's not interested really in that fight because they're friends. But yeah, so but here we are. This is like a few years later, and money talks, man. Money talks is an opportunity for Matias to win another title, a title that he has never held. Beat a good fighter, a top 140, finally a top 140 that he can add to his resume if he can get it done. So, and of course, the pay is going to be good, and it's good for his family, it's good for Matias himself, and it's a Riyadh season card. So,
and the hydrations, you don't have to come and weigh in again.
Another thing that's going to make Matias even more dangerous is that he's not going to be fighting under IBF rules, which means he can rehydrate over 10 pounds. Unlike the IBF, you can't come over 10 pounds. You have to keep it within the 10-pound range limit. And so he's going to be stronger. You know, he's going to be able to, I guess, eat a little bit more and don't have to do that
hydration.
Yeah, rehydration clause that the IBF rules has. So another good important factor to cover here.
I want my prediction. It doesn't go 12. It doesn't get 12.
If Matias wins, it does not go 12.
It doesn't go 12.
If Puello wins, it goes 12.
Correct.
Because Puello ain't stopping Matias.
No.
Let me get that correct. He's not stopping Matias. So it's gonna be an outbox of 12 rounds. Matias, if he wins, TKO. I'll give it 8 rounds max.
Don't be surprised though. Don't be surprised that it ends before what you think. Okay. Don't be surprised that Matias stop him before 10, 8, maybe even by the 5th round. Don't be surprised because Matias can if Puello comes to fight, okay, he could come to fight.
Yeah.
What about if he comes to fight? Which I doubt, but what about if he comes to fight?
And everyone's bringing up the holding that Paro did. Yes, Puello can hold. He will hold. I can see that coming. But I'll say it again until the rematch happens. Matias was not Matias against Paro. He was not throwing the 80 punches per round. He gassed out after the 6th round. Matias doesn't get tired on his A game. He does not. And in his comeback fights, he only won 2 rounds over Ramirez and 8 rounds impressively with Goyas. But with Goyas, he was not tired. He did not stop throwing punches. And that's Matias on his A game. When he fought Ergashev held. Matias actually was able to fight off that hold and was able to create some space and clock Ergashev repeatedly with left hooks until the referee came in and break them apart. But he was getting in some punches. He was able to hit Ergashev in the clinches. So hopefully Matias can create some space and whack away to the body or to the head upstairs.
He was doing that to Collazos too, to Gabriel.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
So if Matias doesn't rely on just coming in and being in that close range to be able to be effective against Puello, and he could also hurt him or throw at him with a nice little distance in between both, then the fight is on. Guaranteed.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Puello has shown it against Russell that he can stand and fight and get engaged into a firefight. So it's going to be interesting when that firefight begins. Let's see how macho Puello really is once he's going toe-to-toe and standing there with Matias, because that's just, you're playing with fire once you do that. That's Matias' wheelhouse. So we'll see. But I feel that Matias is going to be able to make him stand and fight, especially if he comes in there with one leg. Then that toe-to-toe is going to come sooner rather than later in the fight. They come early, like 4 or 5 rounds, because Matias knows how to cut the ring off. Besides coming in with a lot of pressure, and he's gonna keep his hands up,
and he can switch.
Ready for the artillery. Puello's gonna.
I've seen Matias switch,
and Matias does switch to southpaw. Yep.
So that's gonna be great. Let's see.
Earlier in his career, Matias used to switch to southpaw and unorthodox like a natural. But as his career moved on and he got into the Ponce Chuquibaya fights, he was no longer doing that for some reason. But he started recently to do it. He started again doing it recently. He did it in the Ergashev fight. He did it in the Goyas fight. So it's a good thing, man. Let's see something. Matias has loud body shots. I've heard them live. Ismael Villarreal is my sparring partner. He's a pro at 154. He went to pre-on. Matias sparred with him. Yeah, when he fought Paro, Matias whacked away with a left hook to the body while they were in the clinch, and it sounded like a drum. I was like, wow, that was a loud body shot. And in the fight with Maxim Dadashev, may he rest in peace, continue to rest in peace, Andre Ward said something on commentary. He said that Matias punches, you may see that he has all his wins by knockout, but he doesn't possess that one-punch power, but his punches are loud. His punches are loud that when he connects, they go off like gunshots. You can hear them. So Matias does hit hard, man. I wish I could see him one day get a one-punch KO.
Whoa.
But unfortunately, he doesn't get his knockouts by one punch. He breaks you down, beats you up, wears you down, and gets his stoppages by corner or TKO on your feet. You're on your knees and you don't want to get up, something like that. But he's not going to knock you flat out. That's not him. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about Alberto Puello defending his WBC title against Subriel Matias, a very dangerous always Subriel Matias, who was in talks with Hitchens, mandatory for Hitchens. I said it that waiting until December for Hitchens is too long. That's too much of inactivity. I was telling myself he needs to have a fight in the meantime. And man, boy, did he ever get a fight in the meantime. And this is against Alberto Puello, who's a top 140 and the WBC champion. This is not the fight that I was talking about. This is not the fight that we all wanted to see. But let's have it. Let's see it. It's going to be a tremendous
Fireworks.
battle.
Oh, yes.
And I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that leg injury can get. Yeah, I read that already. Yes, that's the Ergashev fight. Matias had to be preferred against the Clint. Paro Puello will take notes on the Paro fight and see how Paro. You know what's interesting about this fight too is that when Matias fought Goyas, he was preparing for a counterpuncher and a boxer. That's the style Goyas always fights with. That's the style he used against Montana Love, where he was able to counter Montana Love and drop Love in a fight that many saw Goyas win that fight or a draw. Matias didn't get it. He was able to drag Goyas Valenzuela into a firefight, and Matias showed. That's how he ended up showing us that he can bounce around, pot shot like Sergio Martinez, like I said. So now he knows. So since now Matias knows that he's fighting a boxer like Puello. Goyas was a boxer. Puello's a better boxer. Maybe Matias will show us once again that he can actually try to box and that he can box with Puello by doing that bouncing around, pot shot again. I feel he's going to implement that.
Well, the trainer that he has right now, not to cut you off, used to do with Matias when he was an amateur. Okay, and he knows what Matias was all about back then. So what they're doing basically is sharpen up. They are sharpening up Matias' skills as to let's put boxing again involved, and eventually with the little bit of boxing that we're gonna bring, we're gonna get in.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. So, but it's easier said than done. Puello is an all-rounded boxer. I like him. It's gonna be Santo Domingo against Puerto Rico.
Yep. And that alone is beautiful colors, is an attraction. We usually see it in baseball, but it's always good to see it in boxing. As there have been many tremendous fights between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and this is going to be another chapter. It's an underrated rivalry in boxing right now. Dominican Republic has lately been coming out with bringing good fighters and world champions now.
Oh, yes.
Like Carlos Adames. A couple of years ago, there was this Dominican tsunami of Dominican fighters coming out of nowhere and causing upsets and winning titles back in 2022. Nunes, Puello was a part of that. Edwin de los Santos coming out of nowhere and stopping Rayo Valenzuela. Carlos Adames. Just a who's who in boxing. And Dominican Republic, Juan Guzman was their best fighter back in the day. I'm talking about back in the day. And we've seen Javier Fortuna as a hell of a fighter as well. Recently saw him against Alfredo Santiago. Alfredo Santiago is also a tremendous Dominican fighter from Fajardo, Puerto Rico. So yeah, there's going to be another tremendous matchup. You know, both guys are friends coming in, but business is business. When that bell rings, there's no friends. The belt is on the line. More money is on the line for the win of this fight. And I'm sure it's going to be the biggest payday Matias will get. Fighting under Turkey Al-Sheikh card, Riyadh season. It's a big stage. It's the biggest stage of Matias' career. It's the biggest fight of Matias' career. It's crazy to say that because he's already been a world champion recently. But this is actually the biggest fight of his career and the best opponent that he will fight.
Definitely agree with that.
You know, Puello has been in there with Sandor Martin, like I said, and Gary Antoine Russell, and he has defeated both fighters. Subriel Matias has yet to have a solid, not solid, but elite 140. this will be his first, and if he can get the job done and defeat Puello, then this will be his first top 140 pounder. Hopefully, by winning this fight, he can get Teofimo in the ring. He can get Barbosa, Richardson, Hitchens. Hopefully, the mandatory still stands after he wins. I thought that if he loses, the mandatory stands. I guess not, because he will drop from the rankings if he was to get beat by Puello.
Yeah, it all depends too, because Russell got beat by Puello, and then automatically he got a title shot, and he's the champ today.
Yeah, he was coming in with a loss, coming in to fight Rayo.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him the title shot. He won. Congratulations to that.
Sometimes when you have such a great fight,
Mm-hmm.
that you go either or could have won that fight,
yeah,
you don't lose much. Okay, and sometimes you stand pretty, not maybe you step down one step down, but because it was so close, they allow you, like what Russell did. He was able to get a title shot, and now he's the WBA
champion.
There you go.
And Puello recently held that title not too long ago. DR versus PR in New York City, a perfect setting, and that's true. This fight is going to take place in New York, and New York has a big population of Dominicans and Puerto Ricans.
Oh, it's gonna be lit.
So the place, wherever the fight takes place, Barclays, wherever, is going to be dancing, bachata y salsa. I saw Guzman in my gym the other day. He's a coach in New York City, and that's Guzman is the Dominican fighters, the Dominican Republic's best boxer. They always say it. So after Matias wins, he should aim Hitchens or power rematch. That aim Haney Lopez.
I think that's what Matias said. If he's to get a title, he would definitely give Paro a rematch. So
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So Matias is so eager and anxious to fight Paro once again that if he wins this fight, or if he was to fight Hitchens and beat him and take the title, he will give Paro a rematch automatically, no hesitation, just to have the rematch. Just to have the rematch. You took my title from me.
I'll give you an exchange. Take it again.
Try to do it again.
Yep.
And see what happens. You got it. You got the job done. It's like Sugar Ray Leonard said one time. You ain't beat me until you do it again.
You know what's gonna happen if that? Just suppose he does beat Puello. He gives Paro a shot, right? I know he's gonna beat Paro. Okay. Once he beats Paro, we all gotta know the truth of why he lost against Paro. Because when he got the revenge against what's his name,
Petros Ananian.
Then he said what went wrong in his loss. But before that, he'd never give excuses. Right. So that's what Matias is.
Yeah, because he didn't want to look like he was making excuses before the fight. So after the fight, he put on a tremendous fight, destructive performance, and then he said, "This is what happened prior to da 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 da." So yeah, it's gonna be a repeat. Matias, like I said in the past, Matias has been down this road before. He lost to someone in Petros Ananian. He was able to avenge that loss. Everyone was scared for Matias going into that fight, even I, because it was like, damn, it's never easy to go in there with someone that beat you. That's one of the biggest wins of any boxer's career, to be able to avenge a loss. And Matias was able to take that thorn out, that ghost, and avenge that loss and put it to the side.
This is really wrong timing for Puello against Matias, because Matias is coming with vengeance. Matias is coming with a passion to become champion, the WBC or any of those titles in the 140. He's just coming for it. So Puello, a hurricane is coming your way. And it's not a category 1, it's a category 5. Yeah. Get ready for it because it's coming.
Yeah. They don't call Subriel Matias the Puerto Rican better BF for nothing. He's for real. He's strong, a lot of punches, a lot of pressure. You gotta be a complete fighter when you fight Subriel Matias on his A game. Matias is coming in, like what you said, with hunger. He's coming off a loss of Paro, not coming off. He lost to Paro, so he's trying to, he's on a revenge tour. His goal is to get the Paro fight. But in the meantime, along the way, he's trying to pick up a belt. whether it's Hitchens, now Alberto Puello, and he's on a mission. He's hungry. He knows this is it. He's not getting younger. He's 33 now. He just recently made 33. So the clock is running out on Matias' career, especially with the style that he has. It's not Mayweather, you hit and not get hit. No, it's all gas, no brakes, out of action, toe to toe. So he's trying to get the most money, win as much titles as he can, get the fights that is important as he can before he steps away. Matias has a good 3 years max in this sport.
Do you think there's a possibility that he goes back to Mexico for this fight and train?
Well, for the Goyas fight, it was all in Puerto Rico. And looked how he looked.
There you go.
He looked sensational.
There you go.
He looked back to form. When he was finished with Goyas, Goyas was a bloody mess.
And he did say he held back.
And Matias showed composure in that fight. That's scary. Ain't much boxers can have that much power in a boxing ring. Have their opponents in the palm of their hands and decide, should I keep hitting this guy or should I step off the gas and tell the referee, hey, should I keep hitting him? Pacquiao had that experience against Margarito. He was beating Margarito up so bad that he was looking at the referee, Lawrence Cole, like, hit him.
Are you going to stop it?
Stop it, or you want me to keep hitting him? I guess I'll keep hitting him. Boop, 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 boop. So Matias had that experience against Goyas. Matias has never shown that side of himself before, but he was showing it against Goyas because he does not want to go through another Maxime Dadashev experience. He already went through a fight where Maxime Dadashev unfortunately passed away. So he was trying to prevent that from happening because you just never know.
Just never know.
You just never know. So
and his corner did said, hey, what's up? Are you going to finish this? Or, I mean, you have your kids. It's either him or your kids. What are you going to do? And that's when he stepped it up and
he was able to make
arrangements. Yes.
Take a knee. So, and in this sport, Matias, unfortunately, has to get that off his mind and just whatever. Because, like how the trainer said, it's either you or him. You're more, he's taking your food off the table, title shots, money, all that. So you got to go and get it.
Yep.
So, yeah, Matias showed compassion against Goyas. And, yeah, but with Puello and all these top 140s, Matias has
no compassion.
Matias cannot show compassion at all. He really has to go in there and hurt these guys. He already doesn't like Teofimo. He already now doesn't like Hitchens. So, and imagine, he liked Goyas. There was no personal beef, no hatred. And look at the beating that he gave Goyas, and he showed compassion. Matias ain't going to show compassion to these guys. And Puello, they're friends, but he should, no compassion.
No compassion.
At this level, at the top, at the weight class, no compassion should be shown. So I'm looking forward to it, ladies and gentlemen. You have a stat card. Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz. David Morrell versus Imam Katahiv. Shakur Stevenson versus William Camarón Cepeda. And then the not but not least, it's not the main event, but to me it's the main event. It's going to feel like a main event fight because I'm going there live in direct, guys. I always say that, I've said to my videos before on my channel that I'm like Subriel Matias' tail. Like wherever he fights, you're likely going to see me there. It could be in Miami, New York, Puerto Rico itself, whatever. But New York will be seeing me.
Well, we got the Amanda Serrano the night before.
The night before, we got Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor 3 at Madison Square Garden. I will also be at that fight.
Oh, yes.
We will also be at that fight. We're not playing that weekend. We're going to go see the Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor fight.
New York City, here we come.
In what should be another classic third fight. And we're going to go in there and see Matias versus Puello. Of course, Berlanga for the first time. I've never seen Berlanga fight. I've never seen David Morrell fight. I've never seen Shakur and Cepeda fight. I'm going to see all that in action, in person. So, yep, I'll be in New York once again behind Subriel Matias, supporting him as always. Miracle Boy Boxing in the house.
That's right.
I don't know where it's going to take place. Not yet. We don't know. It's going to be at the Barclays. I feel it's going to be at the Barclays. Because when I looked at the Barclays' schedule, there's nothing on tap for the 12th, Madison Square Garden is already booked for an event on the 12th, which is a Saturday. Amanda fights the Friday.
But does it say what it's booked for?
No, doesn't have a date.
You might be surprised that it's in Madison Square Garden too.
I hope so. We're gonna walk in Madison Square Garden back-to-back nights. That would be good. But yeah. So I've never been to Madison Square Garden either, guys. So this is gonna be my first time walking into MSG. First time watching Amanda fight. First time watching Katie Taylor fight. And in a classic fight trilogy, and then Berlanga, all the other fighters that I mentioned on the Puello Matias fight card. It's going to be a tremendous weekend. I mean, if you guys are also, whoever's watching my channel, whoever's watching this video live, whoever else is going, I hope I see you there. At the Matias Goyaz fight, I bumped into a couple of my subscribers. That was an excellent experience. It's pretty cool to be able to bump into subscribers and have a chat with them. That's pretty cool, you know. And of course, the bigger this channel grows, the more subscribers I bump into. So I'm hoping to bump into some subscribers at the fights. But yeah. Miracle Boy Box, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed this live with me and my dad. It is a tremendous fight. Alberto Puello versus Matias. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully Matias can pick up another strap 2-time, or Alberto Puello scores a solid win over a man that's called the Boogeyman at 140 pounds. Subriel Matias. I am your host, Ocean Crew. This is my dad. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video or live. Peace.